I would like to tell you the story of the time my husband went to see one of the X-Men movies, but he hadn't seen any of the other ones, and he also hadn't read X-Men. And then he was explaining the plot to me, and I was having to explain to him what was going on in the movie he just saw. This movie was Days of Future Past, and after doing a little bit of investigation, I think this was the arc that I was into of Marvel comics, Marvel X-Men comics, when I was in high school. And it's this one about like, I mean, it's like a dystopian future with the Sentinels and like Kitty Pryde and everybody is in it. Kitty Pryde and Colossus are like main characters in it, but it's like an alternate reality, not alternate reality, but like an alternate timeline, right? Where everything's really bad. So the gist of it is that my husband is like familiar with the X-Men, but he went to go see this with his coworkers. And so he hadn't seen any of the previous movies. He just kind of had like a vague idea of like who Wolverine was and who like Professor Xavier was.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
And
this is
then
not starting in a good place for him.
so he gets back and he's like, yeah, we saw like the X-Men movie. And I was like, okay, like what happened? Stuff. He's like, basically character by character has to tell me in detail what happens in the scene. And every time he finishes, it's me screaming and freaking out that like that character was like in a movie. Okay. So he's like, there's like this kid and he's got like silver hair and he's like really fast. And it's funny because like he's like moving around really fast and like touching people's hats and stuff. And I'm like, you mean Quicksilver was in the movie? And he was like, I don't know. Is that his name? And I'm like, yes. And then I like almost exploded because he's like, there's a mutant and like she's like really cool and she makes like portals and it's like that's how it's all gonna it like all works that way or something like with the time travel like they're gonna go through teleports. So I'm like, what do you mean portals? I'm like, well, it can't be Blink because like when I was reading the comics in high school over and over again, people asked, will you bring Blink back to life? And for some reason, it was the one character they said over and over again, we will never bring Blink back to life. And he was like, I mean, it could have been like also this about her. And I'm like, and then what did she look like this? And he's like, I mean, I think, and I was like, they put Blink in a movie! Like just freaking out. So basically, he goes through the entire plot of this movie, and then at the end is like, and that woman who was in Hemlock, this is so sad. We know her from Hemlock Grove, which is like this really weird horror series on Netflix.
Yeah.
Famke Janssen. Have you seen that?
No.
We'll talk about that another time. Anyway, she's like, yeah. And then like this guy is like looking at this woman and she's like the one from Hemlock Grove. And I'm like, well, who was she though? Like, what character was she? He's like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, who was she? Well, who was she romantically with? And he's like, oh, I think she was with like, well, then like Wolverine like made eyes at her or something. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, so I don't even know. I actually have not seen this movie still. I've only heard his interpretation of a movie that is filled with characters and plot that he had no previous experience of. I think partly I don't want to see it because I had so much fun trying to interpret his experience. I don't know. I think it's a good movie. I feel like people liked it, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm sure someone out there liked it.
I literally don't remember this one.
It was out in 2014.
All of the X-Men movies that came out, like in that chunk, kind of run together in my head. I don't really remember them that well.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, just the adrenaline rush of all of that. I hope I properly conveyed to you.
No, that was amazing.
Anyway, so that was the arc I liked when I was a preteen with all my favorite characters from Generation X. Which group of X-Men did you say was your favorite?
Oh, my favorite was Astonishing X-Men. When I was working at the comic book store, I loved Astonishing X-Men. It was like my favorite X-Men story. It starred Kitty Pryde, and Colossus was in it, and they were together. I don't even know if I remember that much about it now. But I remember really loving that. I mean, growing up, one of the VHS tapes that we had that I watched all the time was of the X-Men animated show. And I also
Yeah.
loved Rogue and Gambit. Loved them.
I know. Yeah, I don't remember being super obsessed, but did that show have like the best opening theme song or
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, I can
Like
hear the music in
really?
my head right now.
It's like completely iconic, and I love Jubilee, and I
Yeah.
was definitely super into like the Gambit and Rogue storyline.
Yeah. I mean, looking back on it, this was like baby bisexual Liz, Rogue and Gambit. Like I love them. I love them together, love them separately. Would like to kiss both of them, would like for them to kiss. It's a good couple.
And the drama.
Yeah, the drama. And I love that was one of my favorite tropes growing up, I feel like, was like the tortured relationship because she's like, I love you, but I can't touch you because
I
I'll kill
know.
you. It's
One of my
so
favorite
good.
tropes.
Yeah.
All right, but we're not here to talk about X-Men today,
No.
despite that. We're going to talk about one of our favorite Marvel villains from the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that is Killmonger from Black Panther.
Yes. Also, this is the spoiler episode. This is part 2. So go back an episode and listen to part 1 unless you intentionally came here first.
Some people are like that.
Yeah.
You know, some people read the back of the last chapter of the book first, and that's okay.
Yeah. Some people are just agents of chaos, and that's all right.
Yeah, we accept you. I'm your host, Miko.
And I'm Liz.
This is the Hot Baddies Club.
I love those hot baddies. Hot Baddies Club is me. I just can't help myself. I just can't help myself. I love those hot baddies. I love those hot baddies.
This is the Hot Baddies Club, where we talk about the bad characters, the villains, the anti-heroes that we are crushing on. And like we said, today we're talking about Killmonger. Do you want to do the tags?
I see you tag you when you're it.
All right, so the first thing we do in the spoiler episode is we go through the tags for this hot baddie in our database. We have a database of over 150 contenders for the Hot Baddies Club. And we have tagged them with the attributes that kind of help us, categorize them and also define what makes them a hot baddie. So for Killmonger, he is documented as being male, a villain, a member of royalty, a fighter, part of the military, scarred, wearing glasses, and a murderer. Dun dun dun.
Yeah. I mean, who on the list isn't, though, so far?
So far. He's like more viciously a murderer than others or something, though. We'll get into it.
All right. So those are the tags. And now we're going to cross the spoiler line.
Treat me so nice, baby, you spoil me.
That's right. And you have to imagine that we're doing a hand gesture where we're literally drawing a line in the sand or in the atmosphere by our heads.
Let's get to first impressions. So, Black Panther movie, first impressions. He is actually one of the first characters that we see on the screen, right?
Yes. And that's not
child.
revealed until later, which is freaking amazing. That is one of the things that really blows my mind about his whole character arc. And that I think they did really in a smart way. At the beginning of Black Panther, like all of our conceptions about people and where they come from and what we've seen in other movies with Black characters, they're questioned often in this movie. So we kind of have this like scene that appears to be some kind of like, like, I don't know, is it Los Angeles? It's like, an urban setting. It's like two black guys in a room. They seem to be doing something illegal. Like, I think it's like weapons,
Yeah.
right? And the way it's all shot, it feels very much like, okay, this is like a crime kind of drama vibe. That's how they're
Hmm.
getting it across. And then we have our ladies from Wakanda show up, and you realize that one of them is, a prince of Wakanda. But then there's even another reveal that the other one that he thought was a regular American guy, it was also a spy from
Hmm.
Wakanda.
Yeah.
And when they end up killing this prince and then leaving, and when their little ship leaves, we focus in on this boy outside who's like playing basketball or something with his friends. And everything about that scene seems to be just like we're just setting the time and the place and everything.
Yeah, because it's like we got a basketball court and you can see their
Yeah.
clothes and you can see the cars in the background. And so it seems like they're just place setting. But
Yes. But that was actually Killmonger as a little kid, and that was the defining moment in his backstory because
yeah,
everything goes bad for him after that.
yeah. Well, I mean, he does end up like being very driven, right? Because he ends up going to MIT and going to the military, but
Hmm.
it's all for like this singular purpose. And also, just to know, because it's key to his backstory, because we're going to get into that more, like his dad was a prince of Wakanda and he got in trouble with T'Challa's dad
Yeah,
because,
his brother, right?
yeah, I think it's his cousin. Wait,
Oh,
no,
really?
I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah, that's T'Challa's uncle that
Yeah,
gets
yeah, yeah,
murdered. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Because Killmonger and T'Challa are cousins. Okay. Yeah, sorry. I got that all mixed up. Pronouns. We'll do that. Okay. So he wanted to use Wakandan technology to empower Black people who were being repressed and try to lift them up. And they were
Yeah.
like, no, we are isolationists. We don't do that. And that's why they killed him. Because he like helped he helped a terrorist steal some vibranium, I think, from Wakanda.
So then, really, like, this is like the key moment where Killmonger, as a child, he loses his father here, which is super traumatic, but also like I don't know if he knows at this moment about Wakanda, but like he has to grow up in this sort of impoverished situation here, and he sees what his father saw, which is that like these people need help, and Wakanda could be the place that helps them.
Yeah,
So he like lived the experience and knows what it would mean to help them really from an early
yeah,
age. I mean, I just think, yeah, so we don't have I guess too much more to say about him as a child, but just the fact that they did this as a reveal later in the movie, it was like friggin' amazing. It's so good.
yeah. It does a lot of setting plot, like setting up to give him such a good, compelling reason to be a villain. Okay, and then we get the first impression of adult Killmonger, who is Michael B. Jordan, because before it was like a child, and that's also a super good moment because you see him and he's like he looks so good. He's got his jean jacket, he's got his glasses, he's got his hair all like done just right, and he's at a museum and he's talking to the museum lady and she's obviously like underestimating him, and he's like, oh, I like this, African artifact that you have, and
Yeah.
she incorrectly identifies it, and he is like, well, I'm going to take it, and she's like, what? He's like, yeah, I'm going to take this, I'm going to take all this.
Woo. Yeah. This is as an audience member when you're watching this movie the first time, this is what you think is the first time you've seen this character. And I think this really just says so much about him. He's essentially a character that defies expectations over and over and over again. Now we've got this cultured, educated man, yeah, with the fine clothes, with the glasses, with the great hair in a museum. Now we've got a totally different impression of him. And it's exactly what you say. This one scene not only touches on like a really important issue that I'm sure many people haven't thought about. It's certainly not something I knew anything about for like, growing up or like in high school or anything, which is that like in a lot of cases, things that we see in museums may have been taken from other countries by previous, military factions and empires. And like when those things need to be addressed, it can be very complicated. Like the whole idea of ownership is like not something you really think about if you are someone that's just like casually going to an art museum and you're like, oh, great, I'm learning about history of another culture. You're not thinking about how that got here into your country.
Yeah. And it's like unless it's on loan from that country or a museum in that country or something like that, then it's probably misappropriated. It's probably stolen. It's stolen goods from that country at some point, and then the museum just has it. And in some cases, like they get into like legal battles or like fights about like where it should go or who gets to keep
Yeah.
it because the museum's like, well, we own it, it's part of our exhibit. And it's like, but it was stolen from our land and when our people were
Yeah.
murdered by colonizers. So we want it back. So yeah, there's a whole thing. So it is a powerful scene because it's like they have these African artifacts. It's like, why do they have it?
Yeah. And it's still presented like in the fictional setting of like being about Wakanda, but it's really amazing how even this one scene it touches on that real world aspect, but it also has to introduce Killmonger and it has to surprise you. When she comes over all casual with her coffee that she's drinking, you already kind of know what she's thinking about him. She's thinking like, oh, like here's a young black man who's looking at he's interested in these artifacts because he probably is thinking about his heritage. Or she may even be thinking, I better keep an eye on this guy because
Yeah, I think a lot of black people, when they see that, they're like, here we go. Like, she's going
right,
to be up
yeah.
in his business because she doesn't trust him to just mind his own business and look at the museum.
Right, and there are security people in the background, which we
Yeah.
see a few minutes later when it all goes to hell. And
Hmm.
yeah, so it's like so many layers because it's like the appropriation of museum art layer. Then there's the people being followed around based on what they look like in
Yeah.
a setting where there's priceless artifacts. Then there's just like we're introducing a character, we don't really know what to expect unless for a large part of the audience they're coming in probably already knowing this actor is going to be the villain, so oh, there he is, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And then just the fact that I don't know what they think is going to happen when he literally just is like, yeah, I'm taking this back. It's not, you don't even know what you're talking about. It's Wakandan and I'm going to take it back.
Hmm.
And the reveal that it's like it's in the coffee. She's been poisoning herself. It's
Yeah.
so wild.
Yeah.
Like you think he's gonna just like start ripping his shirt off and like all these powerful magic superhero weapons are gonna come flying out because that's the Marvel way, but
Hmm.
actually this was like a mini heist that was executed perfectly.
Yeah. And you do get that little heist moment. Actually, there's two good heist moments in this movie, and this is one of them, and it is good. I love a good heist.
Yeah, I love him in the glasses. I'm super partial when we got a glasses version of a character, and we also kind of get to meet like he's got kind of his own little team. So he has
Hmm.
the girlfriend that works at the little cafe in the museum, which presumably is how the poison got into that woman. Essentially, I'm saying this scene's super badass. He's got his little heist crew. I've already kind of forgotten the name of the guy who has like the vibranium arm that was from a previous Marvel movie.
Claw.
Claw, but it's spelled
Yeah.
like in a different way.
Klaue,
Yeah.
something like that. Don't quote me on that. I understand. I read some of the comics. I understand Claw is involved in a storyline similar to this in the comics. In the context of the movie, I don't understand why he needs to be here. I don't understand. But
He was previously in, I think, Age of Ultron. Like, sometimes they have these characters that were. It's definitely getting to the point where the MCU is so big that certain movies you can't just watch and understand all of it. Like, they intentionally put in these cameos and these, like, in jokes because they expect you've seen the other movies or. And
yeah, no, I get it. I get it. It's just like when you're not like the biggest MCU stan and you watch the movie, like me, I'm not like that into MCU. And I watched it and the whole time I was just like Martin Freeman's character, the like CIA agent and Claw, I was just like, why are these guys in this
we're
movie?
starting in on
Like,
Martin Freeman
sorry.
already. I see.
Martin Freeman's fine. I don't have anything against Martin Freeman, but I was just like, why is there a CIA agent in this movie? I don't understand this at
No,
all.
I think that's a fair comment. Yeah, I feel like it didn't bother me as much in previous watchings, but when we rewatched it together for this podcast app, it was like, yeah, I mean, I understand his purpose, but it's like there's so. And I also like Martin Freeman. He makes a fine Hobbit and a fine Watson, but also he's in this movie a lot. Like, a lot. He has a lot of lines. And I don't know. That's my personal taste. No offense, Martin Freeman. I like you very much if you're listening to this.
Yeah, I'm trying to double check this. I believe I read part of the comic that his character was in from like the 90s, and
Mhm.
he is in it. Like, he is in Black Panther,
Okay.
I think. But he was in this movie a lot, like you said.
Yeah. He does play he does play a role that makes sense, which is kind of like the person who doesn't know about Wakanda, and as they explain everything to him, we the audience learn as well. And I totally get that part.
Yeah.
But, those two are not necessarily the coolest characters in this movie, so.
No. No. Anyway, okay. We digress. Okay, should we talk about looks?
A pretty face and personality.
Killmonger looks.
Perfect. He's beautiful.
Yeah, Killmonger he's hot. He's super hot. Like, there's nothing. We got him during his heist when they break Claw out of CIA black site or whatever. With the African mask or the Wakandan mask. We got him in his Vegeta armor.
The Vegeta armor. I mean, I felt like, and he's on the shorter side too. I think shorter guys are so cute and handsome. And so, like, the glasses plus the shorter plus the kind of like Vegeta armor. I feel like there's a story there too.
What do you mean he's on the shorter side?
That's like a thing they always say about him. Do you want me to look it up? How short he is?
No, I looked it up. I did look it up. He's 6 feet tall.
Oh, I don't know about that. I thought it was a thing that he gets roasted.
What?
Oh, you're right. He is listed as 6 feet tall, but people thought he was short. 5'9" is another rumor.
Okay, we don't know. I looked it up and I thought he was 6 feet tall, but you're seeing something else that says he's 5'9".
This one tweet has like random information and it's gone so viral that now everybody thinks he's short.
It's a misinformation campaign.
He doesn't look short in the movie. I was just excited about it because I had read that tweet.
Yeah, and just to be clear, it would be fine if he was 5'9" or if he was 6 feet tall.
It would be fine from my point of view. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, anyway, Vegeta armor, Killmonger, A+, Chef's Kiss. We have shirtless Killmonger with the scarring, also A+, Chef's Kiss. And we have Black Panther Killmonger also. I mean, just...
And he's got like the flashier suit. Like, that was a nice fun thing they did too.
Yeah, because like Shuri offers T'Challa, like, do you want this one or this one? And he's like, oh, I want the more minimal one. And Killmonger's like, yeah, this is mine.
Yeah, which is like, it's so great because it lets T'Challa show off his personality too, and like the differences between them.
Mhm. And
Yeah,
again, like I'm not I'm not an expert, I'm not a super fan of Black Panther, but I think also both of those necklaces are throwbacks to different eras of Black Panther costume. So they're both like were used in a Black Panther costume in the past.
I love it when they do that. That one scene in Luke Cage where he's like
Yeah.
accidentally wearing his original outfit
Yeah.
from the comics.
Yeah.
That was so good.
Exactly.
So here in Seattle, we have this museum called the Mopop, which is the Museum of Pop Culture. It's one of my favorite places in the city. And they have a lot of costumes there that they kind of rotate out. And one time we went and they had a bunch of the costumes from Black Panther. So it was just like so drool worthy to see them up close because the detail work on them is like wild. Not so much his are like so well designed, but they don't have like some of the super elaborate like beadwork and everything that a lot of the other characters have. But yeah, just across the board, the costumes were just so inspiring in this movie.
I don't know if it's the same exhibit or if it's a different exhibit. I just saw someone I know just went to an Afrofuturism exhibit
Yeah,
that also had Black Panther costumes in it. So that might still be going
as it
around.
should. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, he just looks great all the time. And love the mask, especially since the mask was from the museum scene, right? That's what he
Yeah.
took.
Also, just like the versatility, he has like the smart casual for the museum. He's got like the battle armor. He's got the king look. He's got the Black Panther look. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's like just really, he's just really well designed as a character. Okay, so next we usually talk about personality. This one's interesting. Do you want to start off?
he is super driven because even in the movie, the comics, his backstory, I think, is a little different. But in the movie, he went to MIT. He's like special forces, military. He's like all these things. And so he's super smart, super driven, has worked towards one thing his whole life to like get back to Wakanda and like open up Wakanda for other people. And that's super attractive. He is very singular minded, though, in that, please correct me if I'm wrong, but because we watched this movie a little while ago, his girlfriend from the heist does get murdered. And he's just like, oh, well,
Doesn't he
like,
kill her?
does he? Was it one of the things where he was like, don't come any closer, I'll kill her? And he's like, whatever, I'll kill her.
Yes, it was exactly that. It's funny because I think usually when we get to the is this person good relationship material, there's a little bit of like back and forth. It's like, well, they'd have to go to therapy and like, yeah, if you were a teenager and they're a teenager, they could be good for you. But I feel like this one's like the first like resounding no. Like, don't date
Yeah.
Killmonger. He's not going to be a good husband. He's not going to be a good family man. Like he's willing to kill you for his agenda without a second thought.
Yeah. Which, like, as a villain backstory, I respect. But yeah, I would think two or three times about dating him
Yeah.
because as soon as it was inconvenient for me to be there or convenient for me to die, I would be dead.
He's so bent on his agenda that even to like sacrifice himself, really. Like the way that this movie ends is like when he is defeated, T'Challa offers him, like, we can heal you. Like, I
Yeah.
understand you. I have sympathy for you. And Killmonger's like, fuck no. I live on my own terms and I go out on my own terms. That's how much of a badass he is.
Yeah.
Like, it's all about his code of
Yeah.
what he thinks is right, really?
Yeah. No, I mean, and that's all in a villain, in a hot baddie. That is super attractive. If it were not for the fact that we literally see him murder his honey on screen, then we would have a different answer, I think. Because if it
Yeah.
wasn't for that fact, that thing that we saw, that it would be like, yeah, whatever, maybe go to therapy, work on that childhood trauma, like
Mm-hmm.
a huge injustice was done to him. He is kind of right in some ways. You know, we can work on it though.
I almost feel like they had him do that in the movie in order to make him darker, right? Because
Mm,
like because there's so much about his point of view that does feel bad. Like his whole he's like a quote monster that is created because of T'Challa's father, because of the choices T'Challa's father made. T'Challa is so wrecked when he finds out what happened to this guy because he didn't know. He always thought his dad was this like, perfect king. You could totally see like why he could have taken the child. He could have. He chose not to take Killmonger back to Wakanda. He chose that. And this is
yeah.
the outcome. And I also think it's like pretty dark when they eat the flower that gives them the Black Panther powers and they kind of go to this like dream space and T'Challa goes there and talks to his father, who's like in this like beautiful heaven fantasy landscape kind of
Yeah,
world.
with like ancestors. There's like this giant tree, and there's like
Yeah.
all his ancestors, and his dad is there, and all this stuff.
Yeah, but like when Killmonger takes the flower, he goes back to that little cramped apartment and sees his father. And it's like really sad because it kind of implies that like they're stuck in this purgatory based on their quote sins and that maybe they don't get to go to paradise, either of them. And like
Yeah,
I get that he's done really bad things, but like that's such a horrifying concept to know that before
yeah,
you're actually dead.
yeah. That they would both be cut off from their like ancestral lineage and like spirituality because of this choice that someone else made for them.
Mhm.
Because like
Yeah.
well, I mean, who knows what happens to him if he dies there, because he did die in Wakanda, but you know, like his dad didn't get taken back to their ancestral lands. So I don't know if that's part of it, or if it's because like I don't if it's because of the circumstances around his death, but it was really sad.
Yeah, totally. Another thing that I like about his personality is I just like the way he talks a lot. The cadence of his voice. He's got so much confidence and the anger you feel. I don't know. There's just something about how he delivers the lines and the things he says that gives so much personality and also like so much charisma, I think, somehow. It's like really draws you in, but also you're really scared of him.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it game time?
Yes.
Try to ignore me, play your game.
It's me trying to be like a little hype man with like
Oh, okay.
virtual pom
Hmm.
poms. Liz, is it game time?
You know it's game time. Is that better?
That was good.
Okay.
All right. Looks like we have you in here first for game time.
All right, so my game is called The Other MCU, the Marvel Comics universe.
Oh, yep.
Yeah,
The
the
original.
original. I did some reading, did some research, and I have prepared 4 questions for you, multiple choice questions, to see if you can guess about the differences between movie Killmonger versus comic book Killmonger.
Okay.
I
Perfect.
think they get progressively harder.
Okay.
Okay, so question 1. In the movie, Killmonger has a name that they go over in the movie, which is Eric Stevens.
Right.
In the comic books, though, what is his given name at birth?
I mean, do I get any hint at all? Or do you said it's multiple choice?
Oh, yeah, yeah. See,
Oh,
I've completely
thank
messed this
goodness.
up. I don't know. I'm just looking at these multiple choices, being like, which one's right, Miko? Okay. Option A, M. Demway. Option B, T'Chaka. Option C, N'Jadaka. Option D, N'Yami.
I mean, there's like I have no idea how to even guess. I'll just have to make it a total guess for this one. I feel like it wouldn't be 2 because it's so similar to T'Challa, but then it very much could be that one because it would be the one I wouldn't guess.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go with Njadaka for no other reason than mouthfeel.
That is correct. And
Oh,
Chidaka, which I think actually in the movie they also use that name, right?
like that's his like Wakandan name.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, they use that name in the movie too. Okay. So that was correct. The answer was C and Jadaka. Fun fact, Killmonger in the older comics is 6'6", while MCU Killmonger is approximately 6 feet tall, since that's how tall Michael B. Jordan is.
All right.
And I just thought that was funny because when I was looking that up in my head, I kept hearing that TikTok song that's like 6 feet tall and super strong. And I was like, yeah, that's Killmonger. Okay, yeah. M. Demway is the guy in the comic who actually kidnapped/adopted Killmonger. T'Chaka is T'Challa's dad.
Okay.
And Yami is T'Challa's mom.
Okay.
All right. So, question 2. In the MCU, the cinematic universe, Eric Stevens comes to his iconic name Killmonger as a nickname from his extensive military service. Where does the name come from in the comics? Okay. Option A. He changes his own name after murdering his abusive adoptive father before continuing his life. Option B. It's still a nickname from the military. Option C. It's the name of the technology company he founds while trying to find Wakanda. D. Claw names him that when they team up.
I feel like you're really good at these because I feel like you're always tricking me. Like it was always one that looks like a trick.
I spend a lot of time making the false ones really
Yeah.
believable, or like grabbing them from other places, and
I
like
bet
just
you're really
zhuzhing them
good
up a
at
little.
the game Balderdash where you have to like make up definitions for words. I feel like like I knew it was a nickname in the comics. So I even though it seems like a trick, I'm gonna go with it's still a nickname from the military.
So he actually changes his own name after murdering the guy who kidnapped him. Okay, so his name is Njadaka. He changes his name to
Uh-huh.
Eric Killmonger by choice on his own. So the correct answer was A.
Okay. But
He
so that
does,
would be M Demway from the last question.
yes. He after he kills M. Demway, he changes his name from Njadaka to Eric Killmonger. So yeah, in the comics, he doesn't join the military. He doesn't. I just totally made up the technology company thing. And as far as I know, Claw and Killmonger don't have that much interaction, like as they do in the movie. But I could be wrong on that. Don't quote me.
Claw's not like, actually a sentimental adoptive dad that just goes around grabbing different superheroes and taking them under his wing. No.
No,
Maybe a fanfic somewhere, but not canon. Okay.
I should have looked that up.
Good to know.
Question 3, 3 out of 4. In the Black Panther movie, Killmonger dies in hand-to-hand combat with T'Challa. How does Killmonger die in the comics? Option A. Killmonger attempts to use a Wakandan defensive weapon as a weapon of mass destruction on a SHIELD envoy, but is stopped by Shuri. To evade capture, he jumps from a plane and dies. That's option A. Option B. He doesn't die in the comics. Option C. He defeats the Wakandan ruler in ritual combat, but when he takes the heart-shaped herb, it poisons him because he does not have royal blood and he dies. Option D. Killmonger stages a coup d'etat while Black Panther is kicking it with the Avengers, but his plot is foiled and he is killed.
Wow. All right. Okay, well this one's hard because if you follow comics for a while, usually everybody dies and comes back multiple times. So usually everybody dies, but then somehow they find a reason they bring them back. So I feel like for this one, I really like number 4 because of the casualness of how he dies in that one. But I think I'm gonna go with number 1 because it's like military themed, and I know that's like a big part of his character.
Okay, here's the thing. All of these are things that happen, but only one of them
Okay.
ended with his death,
Okay, I get that.
except for saying he doesn't die.
Right. Okay. I can see that.
They're all things that happen, but option A, Killmonger does jump from a plane. All those things happen. He evades capture from Shuri by jumping from a plane. They are like, he might have died, but he probably didn't. He lands in the ocean or in water, or a lake or something, and ends up going to an island that he becomes a dictator of and rules. And then
Okay.
he like
Yeah.
chills there because it's close to Wakanda, so he can be there and build up his own forces so that he can
Okay.
try to take over Wakanda.
Sure.
Okay. And I'm paraphrasing. I read some of these quickly for research and I looked up a lot on Wikipedia. So if you know better, you can write in. I'm sorry. Okay. Option B, he does die. So that's not true. Option C, he does defeat the Wakandan ruler in ritual combat because there's a point at which T'Challa appoints a regent to rule for him while he's gone. Killmonger takes advantage of this, goes, fights the guy, beats him, and becomes the ruler. So then when he takes the heart-shaped herb, he does get poisoned, but he doesn't die at that point because T'Challa comes back and is like, I can save you. And T'Challa saves him. Good guy, T'Challa.
Aw.
So the option was D, which you almost picked. Killmonger stages a coup d'etat while Black Panther is kicking it with the Avengers, but his plot is foiled and he dies.
Who foiled it?
I think it was a mix of like Black Panther and Shuri. I can get you a better.
It wasn't just like the people rising up.
That's actually a reoccurring thing in the Black Panther comics is that like they're isolationists, but just because they have like the best technology in the world and like the most stable kind of country, there's still a lot of unrest. So the people do rise up, but they rise up a lot against the monarchy. Okay, Killmonger. Oh, he gets killed by Monica Rambeau, who is
Oh, from Captain Marvel.
yes, yeah.
Monica's the daughter, right?
This is also complicated. Yes, Monica's the daughter. The mom is Maria.
Yeah, she seems super cool in WandaVision.
Yeah,
And I heard she's going to be in Captain Marvel too, which I'm really excited about.
yeah. Okay, so that was question 3 and some. Last question, question 4. Okay, I think this one is the most fun. Fans of the MCU have been speculating about a possible return of the Killmonger character. This is supported by recent events in the MCU because, in the comics, Wanda Romanoff, aka Scarlet Witch, accidentally resurrects Killmonger while trying to resurrect her brother in House of M. And WandaVision was created recently and set up House of M in the finale. That's option A. Option B. In the comics, Killmonger is resurrected by Mandarin, a villain whose powers primarily come from 10 magical rings. And Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings was recently released. Okay, option C. In the Infinity Wars comics, when Thanos snaps, half the population gets dusted, but actually a few dead people with especially strong spirits come back to life at that moment. And Thanos has indeed snapped in the MCU. Or option D, he doesn't come back to life in the comics.
So once again, I feel like you put a lot of work into this. They're like so plausible. See, I feel like you're always like leaving me with tricks too. Because I thought that in House of M, you're not going to answer me, but I thought it was that she's trying to find her kids. At least that's how it was in WandaVision. I mean, she wants her brother too, but I thought in the comics her brother is there and it's the kids she's trying to find.
I don't know, Miko. Is that what it is?
Oh no. Yeah. And then like in number 2 with or B in the comics Mandarin. So I don't know how realistic the character is in the Shang-Chi movie versus like in the comics, but he seemed to be a person that was pretty obsessed with his own power. So I wouldn't really know why he would want to resurrect Killmonger, but I could also see that happening because a bunch of comic people get together at the office and they're like, we gotta get Killmonger back here. What do we got going on that we could put him into, you know? And then in C, it feels like it doesn't make much logical sense that just like a few people would come back. But again, it's comics. So, you know, if they want it badly enough, they're going to find a way to do it, right? And then I feel like D is probably the least realistic because it's comics and they always come back. If Blink came back, anybody can come back.
Yeah, they bringing everybody back here.
I think just because it's the one that I want it to be true, I think I'm going to go with A because we're just building up such a huge multiverse situation between like the Loki show and then Doctor Strange coming and the new Spider-Man movie. So I think it's going to be A.
I put in there because I know you love Scarlet Witch, and I thought you were going to pick that one.
But it also would be like the most mainstream one, right? Like,
yeah. The answer is B. In the comics, Killmonger is resurrected by Mandarin, a villain whose powers primarily come from the Ten Rings. And Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings was recently released. That is what happens in the comics. For some reason, Mandarin gets Killmonger's body, and he resurrects him.
that's bonkers.
I didn't read that part, so I don't really have more details. I was just getting it from the like Marvel Comics wiki or whatever. A little note on the other ones because I did all this research, so I want to be able to talk about it. So they did set up House of M at the end of WandaVision, but as far as I know, Scarlet Witch doesn't interact with Killmonger, or if she does, I didn't read that in the wiki, but that is
like
not true.
accidental. Yeah, it would probably be, my guess would be it would be like just because she's making the multiverse kind of all come together and he's got to be in some of those other universes just like how we saw in Loki, right? So
yeah, so as far as I mean, that is not true. What I wrote is not true. Do they interact? I don't know. Possibly. These comics have been going on for so long. Anything can happen. A note on Mandarin. Mandarin, according to the comics, was actually a villain that was created to be Iron Man's arch nemesis, which I think is interesting because I had no idea who this guy was.
Yeah.
And we've seen a lot of Iron Man in the movies.
Okay. Well, I mean, he was in a version of him was in Iron Man 3, so that must have been why they chose him.
Oh, okay. I forgot, or whatever. I saw Iron Man 3 like when it came out. I haven't really seen it since, so good on you, Miko.
I mean, no comment, but also in the Shang-Chi movie, they kind of have to address that because it's like the same name. And then I had to be like, what? What happened in Iron Man 3? And so you're kind of forced to like look it up or remember why.
Yeah, option C about Thanos snapping and bringing some people back to life when the snap happens. I just made that up.
It's the kind of thing that if it happened, you would be mad it happened, but it's very plausible that someone would do that. So
I mean, there's so many series. I can't say 100% for sure that that didn't happen. And he does come back to life, obviously. 100% he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's wild.
You got 1 out of 4 right, I think. But honestly, Miko, I think we all know this by now, is that I use these games as an excuse to do extensive research. And then I just want to say a lot of stuff that I read. So you did great. These were hard.
But also, like, I feel like we're going to have our own, like, BuzzFeed section where, like, every episode we create a quiz for people to do.
I think it would be really fun. Like, I have this dream idea that I can create, like, a really good website for us that's, like, very custom. And one of the things I can do is, like, set up quizzes that go along with the episode so that you can, like, do the quiz and, like, post your results and see, like, how good other community members did.
I think if we were going to do that, I'd almost want it to be a Discord bot
Yeah.
because we're really excited about setting up a Discord that's very like community based and having people who are fans of different characters being able to like jump in and talk about them and stuff. So I could see that being like we have like our a custom quiz bot and people could like start off a new quiz and whoever wants to jump in can join and it could be so fun.
But we'll see what happens. That's all a pipe dream right now.
All right. So that was the Killmonger comics section. Are you ready for the Michael B. Jordan anime quiz?
I'm so excited for this.
All right. So what happened here was there was somebody on Twitter who was roasting him, right?
Mhm.
And they were roasting him in three ways, okay? I don't know who this person is. The tweet's not even in this article. They said Michael B. Jordan is a 5'9" adult man that loves anime and lives with his parents. Y'all told me all of those things were unacceptable, though. So the joke is that, like, you know, people say like conventionally attractive men can't be short or can't like anime or can't live with their parents, right? I mean, all of
Mhm.
that's not true, but that's the joke. And
Mhm.
Michael B. Jordan replied, and he said, first of all, I'm 6 feet and they live with me. Put some respect in my name. Okay. And then he also talked a little bit about his favorite anime characters. So it became kind of a known thing that like Michael B. Jordan is really into anime. And I went on and I looked at some different interviews with him talking about his favorite anime and I I think that I tried to make this like a little bit easier because I wasn't actually sure how much anime you know other than Dragon Ball Z, which we like consumed all of together.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to like educate me, but I didn't put the harder stuff on here.
I don't know. I've watched a fair amount of anime. I go through phases where it's like I just want to watch anime or I don't watch any anime.
Yeah.
So I've seen like a number of series front to back, but I didn't grow up like watching it as much and I don't watch it like all the time. So I don't I've seen maybe like oh, I was going to say a dozen, but I've seen a dozen Gundam series. So
Uh-huh.
I'm like a big Gundam fan cuz my husband loves Gundam, so we watch a lot of Gundam. We're on like a quest to watch all the Gundams. But so I've seen like a dozen Gundam series, movies, shows, whatever. Then I've probably seen another dozen anime series like completely, not counting, like
Okay.
Ghibli
And
movies or
that
whatever.
number will grow because of this show, so
Yeah,
because of our
it will.
podcast.
And it's growing all the time. Like I'm always,
Yes.
have a couple anime series going, but
Okay.
I don't
Well,
I'm not one of those people that's just like I've seen every episode of Naruto and Inuyasha and Bleach and whatever. That's not me.
yeah. Well, anime used to be like my bread and butter. I was like a person on like yeah, getting like the latest subs for things that weren't out in America yet and all
Yeah.
that. And I had a very brief career as a journalist in an anime magazine too.
Uh-huh.
But
Amazing.
anyways, so yeah, okay. I think you're gonna do okay then. I'm gonna add one more to this, which I think you will appreciate. So I just want to give
Okay.
a shout out that Rooster Teeth did a animated series. I think it's called Genlock with Michael B. Jordan. So a lot of things I found out came from their interview with him
Uh,
because it was just the information was too good. So I had to keep it. So we'll start with this one because you mentioned it. I don't think these are necessary in difficulty order. Which Gundam series was the first Gundam series that Michael B. Jordan watched? And I don't have a multiple choice because you did say you watched a lot of them. So,
yeah, I think that's fair. Okay, so my guess would be Gundam Wing, because that was a lot of people's first Gundam series. And if it
mm-hmm.
wasn't Gundam Wing, then my second choice, if I'm allowed to do that, it would be like original Gundam.
The original series, yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many series.
There's so many series, Miko.
You are right. It is Gundam Wing. And
Okay.
that's the right answer, the
Yeah.
right reason too. It was my first Gundam. It was one of the first animes I watched. Because of that, we talked about a little bit before, right? That Toonami block.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was like if you watched it at like 6 p.m., they would censor it. But like if you watched the later show at 11 p.m., then like Hero would have blood on his hand. So, you know, you had to stay up and watch it then. That's
I
what I
don't think I
remember.
watched. I didn't. Actually, now I can't remember which one I watched first because I didn't watch it when it was on Toonami because I wasn't that into like mech animes or like that just didn't like appeal to me at the time. But I can't remember if I watched the original Gundam first or Gundam Wing first now.
I do kind of have like a little bit of a shameful confession regarding Gundam Wing, which is that
Is the confession that Duo Maxwell is still hot
he's
because,
is the hottest.
yeah,
Yes, absolutely.
that is the correct answer.
No, like I was more of like a consumer of the fandom. Like I like looked at a lot of fan sites and I read a lot of the fan fiction too. But my confession is that there was this one Hero and Duo fan site and they did this thing where like the more hits she got on her web counter, she had like a fan art picture of one of the boys, and then like every time she reached a new milestone in hits, a piece of his clothing would come off. She'd redraw him stripping.
That's amazing.
And the confession is that I was inspired by that to create a scene in my game Code Romantic.
Wait, in the Code Romantic 1?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's right. We don't actually go that far, but originally we intended to go that far. And then I kind of got cold feet about it because I realized a lot of people's parents, like a lot of parents are going to play it with their little kids. So it's referenced, but it doesn't actually happen. And then
Oh,
I always
okay.
thought, well, I guess if a bunch of fans really clamored for it, we could release it as DLC. My artist Allison Kelly was 100 million% on board for that for the entire time we were making the game. She was like, "When are we doing the strip tease part?" I was like, I know, it's still in the docket."
Oh my god. Maybe it should be like a Patreon bonus or something.
Honestly, yeah, I think we would probably lose a month of progress on the sequel. But if I told her we're gonna put this on the Patreon, it would happen. She's dedicated to her craft. Okay, like she'll do it.
Yeah. Or some kind of like digital goodie or something that comes with the
Yeah,
art book that's just like a little standalone player that's just
yeah, yeah. I
answer
know.
question right. Leon takes off an article of clothing.
Yeah, it's pretty much exactly that. Anyways, so that's a little
Amazing.
side story about Gundam Wing.
Wow.
Okay, so you got that one right. Okay, so next up, I have two questions for you about Dragon Ball Z,
Okay.
which I felt were safe because I know you know a lot about Dragon Ball Z at this point. All right, so Michael B. Jordan was asked ultimately who wins in a fight between Goku and Vegeta, and who does he think would win?
Oh god, this is hard because immediately I was like, well, who do I think would win? So I guess it's like, how much confidence do I have in my answer? So
Mm-hmm.
I did, when I was doing research, I did see that Michael B. Jordan is a Vegeta fan. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to guess that he says Vegeta wins. And I also think that is the correct answer because Goku spares Vegeta's life multiple times and Vegeta would murder Goku given the chance. So,
At most points in their history, Vegeta would just go for it, right?
yeah.
Okay, so you say Vegeta.
I think that Michael B. Jordan would pick his man Vegeta as the winner of that matchup. Sweating thing.
So Michael B. Jordan picked Goku.
Oh, okay.
He says that Goku never gives up, and he also said that Goku would win because it would destroy Vegeta's pride. I don't know if that just means he thinks it's great when Vegeta's pride is destroyed, which I agree with, or if he just feels like that's the right answer based on the show.
Yeah, I mean, in Dragon Ball Z, Goku does defeat Vegeta, but he spares his life. So
Yes.
I get it. And Goku, I think, I'm sorry, Vegeta, Goku is more powerful than Vegeta.
Awkward, but true. It's okay,
Yeah.
Vegeta. You're still You still have good
Yeah.
qualities. Watch our or listen to our episode of Vegeta. All
Yeah.
right. All right. Now this one is a really fun one. There's a part in Black Panther where Killmonger gets knocked down and he gets back up on his feet. And Michael B. Jordan says that he intentionally played that scene like a scene from Dragon Ball Z. So, which character was Michael inspired by when he got back up from the ground during a Killmonger fight scene?
My initial instinct is Vegeta, but I'm trying to think if there's like a really iconic. I mean, is it supposed to be like Cell or something? I don't know. I really don't know. My first instinct was Vegeta, but we just talked about Vegeta, so now I don't know.
I'm like, should I give you a hint? It's a
Yeah, give me a
part
hint.
where it's like a part where Killmonger's like kind of holding on to one of his arms as he like climbs back up to his feet. But it is kind of a hard question.
I don't know. He's holding. Oh, Piccolo?
It's a good guess.
No. Okay, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know actually. At this point, I'm just gonna be naming characters from Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, just name who you can. In this one interview, Michael says that he was inspired by Gohan, and I believe this is in the Cell Saga based on how he was miming it. There's like a part where teenage Gohan kind of climbs back up. And he's like holding one of his hands. It's kind of an iconic moment. I don't remember 100%, but I feel like I remember that happening.
Yeah, I respect that a lot. That he was like, "This is for all my Dragon Ball Z fans out there."
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
And that he would like try to like move in that way that would like
yeah.
have that vibe, you know?
Because you know, some people are watching that being like, "That's Gohan."
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I've got two more for you. So, Michael B. Jordan like tends to be talking mostly about kind of those well-known shows, those like shonen action shows that are like kind of mainstream anime. Funny enough, when that person was roasting him on Twitter, somebody replied with like a sad Iron Man gif, and they were like, "Oh, you're into that kind of anime, the mainstream ones." And Michael B. Jordan replied, "Nah, that was a softball for the anime uneducated," which I also thought was really funny.
Wow.
But he did say what is his favorite anime. So I'm going to give you the 5 choices and you can tell me what you think it is.
That was a softball for the anime uneducated. Why do people gotta come at him like this? Like, let this man live. Just let him be.
So these are all pretty. Yeah, these are the mainstream shonen shows. Is it A, Bleach, B, Naruto Shippuden, C, Dragon Ball Z, D, Gundam Wing, or E, My Hero Academia?
This is a really hard one. For some reason, I feel like it's not gonna win. I think we're going with a shonen anime, not a mech anime. So that leaves everything else. I don't know the difference between Naruto and Naruto Shippuden.
It's like the time jump one.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure on it too. But
Okay.
it's kind of like the more, I feel like it's the more popular one. Like when people say Naruto, they mean like the very beginning when they're really young.
And I believe Bleach is also, I'm the least familiar with Bleach. I know had a lot of friends who read Bleach in high school. I think it's also a shonen anime.
Yeah, these are all the pretty mainstream ones, right?
I don't know the answer. For some reason, I'm not going towards My Hero Academia. So I kind of feel like I'm kind of feeling like it's B Naruto Shippuden because it's like has that extra.
Because it's like more detailed.
Yeah, that's my
Uh-huh.
guess.
Yes, you are right. It is Naruto Shippuden is like definitely his favorite. He said he's very passionate about it. And I just double checked it. Essentially, like Naruto, the series ends, and then Shippuden is like the next one. So in a way, that's their version of Dragon Ball Z, where like Dragon Ball is Goku as a kid, and Naruto starts their like preteens, and then when
Hmm.
they're kind of it's like a time jump. I don't
Okay.
know because I stopped watching. I fell off the Naruto wagon at that point, but I know it's a time skip. And I know there was this wild time skip where like the manga jumped ahead like several years, and then there's a ton of anime episodes that are just completely fabricated that are not in the manga because in order to get them there or something, it was like I that's the part where I stopped watching Naruto because I was like, I can't handle this. Like, I know this has nothing to do with the main plot, and
Oh yeah, I know Naruto. Maybe this is not correct, but I did think that I was like in a store and I saw that it was like Naruto, the next generation, like Boruto, his son. And I was
yes,
like,
yeah,
okay,
that's
okay,
true.
Boruto, Naruto's son, Boruto.
Yeah,
All right.
yes.
Okay.
It's accurate, yeah. So
Yeah.
several of the characters in the regular original series are paired off, and then presumably after the events they get married and then they have kids, and those are all
Yeah.
their kids growing up with like double the powers, I guess, or like powers
Yeah.
inspired by their parents.
Yeah. A
So
lot like Dragon Ball Z.
yeah, but I think there's more pairings because there's just more female characters. Like for Dragon Ball Z, there's like 3 female characters.
Yeah. But by
Yeah.
that time, they realized the missed opportunity. More female characters, more pairings.
Yeah. They kind of do this thing in Naruto where there's actually quite a lot of the kids in the ninja school, and they're in groups of 3. And I think most times the trio will be like 2 guys and 1 girl. So there was like a lot it felt like there were a lot more female characters to like ship with different characters and stuff. So yeah, I actually really liked Naruto, but it's I just like I said, I just sort of fell off the wagon when there was the big group of filler episodes. I never went back.
Mm-hmm.
But it has great music and a lot of the characters have really fun powers and really cool fight scenes.
Okay, I have only seen a little bit of Naruto because at some point, like the past couple of years, I was like, you know what, Naruto is like one of the most popular animes. Like, I'm gonna try it, and I just got this happened so early on. It's like episode 5 or something. Wait, what's his nemesis's fate?
Sasuke.
Sasuke.
Yeah.
Naruto's getting in Sasuke's face, and then somebody bumps
Yep.
into Naruto from behind, and he kisses Sasuke. But it's in like episode 5. Like,
Yeah.
I was expecting this
Classic.
way later
Yes.
on because I always see those jokes about Naruto and Sasuke, like, you know, slash fish getting shipped or whatever. It's right there. They kiss full on the mouth.
It's like literally the very beginning of the series. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
I was really surprised by that.
Yeah, it's good. It's just like there some of the arcs are really long. Like I think the things I liked the best would be like when they have the tournaments and stuff and you get to see all the kids' different powers and how they fight each other is like really interesting. Because sometimes they have to use a lot of different strategies and stuff. It's just cool to see. But it's definitely a good show. All right, here's the last one. I this one I had the most fun with, but I don't know if you actually know any of these shows except for the one that I put in as a Easter egg.
Okay.
So so Michael B. Jordan, he's also known for portraying a boxer in the Creed series. So which of these 5 anime shows is a sports anime about boxing?
I have no experience with sports anime whatsoever.
And I'm going to list these in order of how many exclamation marks they have in their names. It's also commonly joked about that the more exclamation points in the name, the gayer the show is in the sports anime fandom, which is a good thing, I think. So first we have A, Hajime no Ippo. Second is B, free, 1 exclamation point. C is Haikyuu, 2 exclamation points. D is All Out, also 2 exclamation points. And then Yuri on Ice, 3 exclamation points.
Okay. Okay. Yuri on Ice is an ice skating anime. I know that. I've never watched it. I know that's to be true though.
I will make you watch it.
I want to watch it. I just haven't yet. There's only so much I can do.
It's comfort food, but it has no hot baddies in it.
I would like to watch it. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So option E out. Option C, I think I've seen like the cover of the manga or the splash page of the show someplace, and I think it's a volleyball anime. So I think that one's it, or whatever it is. I'm pretty positive it's not boxing because I think I've seen it and it was some group sport like basketball or volleyball. So that leaves us with A, Hajime no Ippo, B, Free, or D, All Out. I wish I had better Japanese vocabulary.
I know it's tricky. There's like you're really just guessing if you haven't seen it, and that's fine.
Yeah. I'm gonna guess A, Hajime no Ippo.
All right, you're right. It is
Okay.
Hajime no Ippo. It's considered to be one of the best boxing animes. The main character's name is Ippo, and I think Hajime means first, or it's like he comes in first a lot. Yeah, it has 76 episodes, so it's pretty beefy. Yeah, it's just considered. It's like a. These are all sports anime, so all of them follow one or more characters are really into the sport, and then of course there'll be some kind of competition, and it's like training montages and stuff like that. um
Okay, what is Haikyuu?
yeah, I'll go through the list. So yeah, Hajime no Ippo, boxing, no exclamation points, from what I understand, pretty straight heterosexual show. I think he has a girlfriend or something.
Okay,
um
to be honest, I was thinking about it and I was like, if there was ever going to be a sports anime that wasn't super gay, I think it would be a boxing one, and that's partially why I picked
that's
A.
fair. Be Free. Free is a swimming show, which is like, I mean, there's sort of like a slippery slope you can go down where.
Sorry, there's a slippery slope in the swimming show, Miko.
Yeah, let's just go with that. Yeah, Freudian slips it all. Okay, so basically, it's a swimming show about a men's swimming team. They're all very attractive. They're all
Uh-huh.
wearing extremely tiny swimsuits. The animation quality is bonkers good. Like the water droplets glistening, and like it's the kind of show where like there's lots of characters and everybody has a favorite character and a lot of different pairings. And I definitely have a favorite character in that who's like the caregiver who like makes sure the main character eats and like it nurtures him when he's like too stressed about trying to be the best swimmer and like understands
Mm-hmm.
his little moods.
Yeah.
So shout out to Makoto, my favorite character from Free. And it's also really cute because the movies are like they're like in middle school and stuff. Like some of the movies they're like younger, and then it like takes them through high school and through college. Haikyuu is about volleyball. I haven't seen that one, but I have heard it is also like lots of very attractive male characters and lots of pairings and stuff.
Okay, so I was right. It's a volleyball anime. Okay, I feel really proud of my memory recall on that one.
All Out is a show about rugby. So it's kind
Okay.
of, I haven't seen that one either, but it's like tough guys. Like they look like they're
Okay,
probably going to fight a bit.
but there's two exclamation points.
Yeah. I mean, according to the exclamation point theory, it could be other things going on there in the rugby show. I don't know. I haven't seen it. Don't come for me. So maybe some All Out fans can clarify what are the top pairings, right?
Yeah.
And then we have Yuri on Ice, 3 exclamation points, canon, like actually super wholesome two men in love romance, and it is about figure skating, and there's
Yeah.
mostly male characters in it. Some other
Actually gay.
pairings, but like definitely, like absolutely, it is not just like joking around. Like it's like, yeah, this is happening for real. We acknowledge this. So
Yeah.
that is my comfort anime whenever things get too dark, you got to put on something to make the world seem like a better place. I usually reach for Yuri on Ice or Princess Tutu, which I hope we talk
Nice.
about in the future. So,
Yeah.
all right, good job. So I think you got like 3 of them right. So you did better than I did.
I mean, These were ones that I feel like you actually designed questions that I could answer. And I feel like I was just like, I'm going to get the most obscure, random crap that I could get about Killmonger in the comics.
Okay, so that's the end of game time. Woo!
Yeah.
All right, are we moving on to top and bottom moments?
Yes.
I'll be the bottom to your top.
Okay, bottom moments or bottom things. I have 4, but we actually talked about a lot of these already, so I think we could go through them pretty fast.
Yeah, mine we have mostly talked about. So the bottom of my bottom list is how wrong T'Chaka did him. How wrong.
Yeah, that's awful. See, he's such a good character that they're not even things that he did necessarily. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mine's related to that. My number 4 on my worst things list is it's too sad that Killmonger and his dad aren't able to go to the ancestors' resting world.
Yeah.
And I know we don't have like total confirmation on it, but it seems implied, and it's like that wasn't his fault.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I agree.
I'm emo about it.
Yeah. My next one, we already talked about this during relationship material. He did murder his girlfriend, just like super casually.
Yeah. That woman thought she was about to be a queen.
Yeah.
And
And it's just like, were that not in there, it would just be like, there's nothing wrong with Killmonger. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
I think so. A lot of it, yeah.
him being like a baddie as opposed to just like someone who actually did suffer trauma from the hero's family was just abandoned, and they also just abandoned the whole world, you know, instead of helping
Yeah.
people. Like that, it's still a really strong point, but the fact that he will just like casually murder his girlfriend like goes from like yeah to like it goes from like yeah to like yeah, but
Yeah, I agree. I think I actually probably said something wrong with me that I didn't put that on my worst things list.
I mean, we
Whoops.
did already talk about it.
Yeah. Number 3 on my worst things list is like really shallow. I thought the name Eric Stevens is kind of funny. If your name is Eric Stevens, I'm not saying that you can't have that name. It just seems really jarring for this character for some reason.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it's kind of a call out to the comic books, but it is, you're going to go from N'Tejaka to Eric Stevens. And I get it. He's trying to fit in, or
It's like practically a John Smith kind of,
Yeah.
you know, like
yeah. It was out of necessity, though. You know, he's got places to be. He doesn't have time to be explaining to people that his name is N'Tejaka and how to say it properly and everything. So I get it, but also, yeah, it is like such a blood name.
again, if your name is Eric Stevens, that's fine. But if you have exactly the personality of Killmonger, it's just a little surprising. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, my name is a super common name, Liz Phillips. Like, there's a million of us. I would never, no offense, Mom, I would never have chosen this name, if that makes sense.
There's only 2 of me in the world, to my knowledge. I was the only one for a long time. And then around the time that Facebook became a thing, a Japanese woman married a French guy in Texas and had the same name as me. And all these people were messaging me like, hey, I added you on Facebook. And I was like, I'm not on Facebook. So I guess she's probably getting a lot of friends. I don't know.
Wow. Yeah, that's funny. My last one is, in this movie, I really wish there was less Claw and less Martin Freeman and more Killmonger. Less screen time for those two characters,
Yeah.
more Killmonger
Okay.
character development and screen time. That is my biggest gripe with the movie.
Okay, yeah. So my worst things number 2 was that he's not in the movie as much as I remembered. So our very first test episode was on Jareth from Labyrinth, and when you're listening to this, I don't know if we've released that or not. So if we haven't released the Jareth episode, you can hashtag release Jareth, hashtag release Jareth at us on social media, and we'll know if there's a need for this. Anyways, that we had a similar thing with the Jareth episode where we're like, I thought he was in like 50% of the movie. And I think I had the same feeling here as he like looms large in my memory of Black Panther. So when we're rewatching, I'm like, whoa, there's a lot of scenes and like action plots and stuff that he's not even in.
It's like I'm totally making up this percentage, but it's like he feels like he's in 50% of the movie. He's actually only in 25% of the movie, but that 25% is putting in work.
Yeah, absolutely. And then like the top thing I had on the worst list was that I'm really sad that he decided to die. Like he went out like a badass and he basically like was like, "Yeah, I'm defeated. No, I don't want your help." And he has this like so emotional moment where he literally talks about like the slave ships coming over to America. That's like it cuts deep, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's something that like we we don't talk about, right? Like even now that there's more people being aware and being open about how horrible that whole situation is, it's like just for him to just say that before he like just shoves the weapon deeper into his body, it's like holy cow. Like the power of it is amazing. But
Yeah.
partly it's like there's like so many other villains that in this kind of cinematic universe that don't like totally die or like definitely can come back. I mean, I guess with the multiverse, right, we might get him back, but like I don't know. It's just like oh, it was real sad. It was sad.
Yeah. Well, maybe not even with the multiverse, right? Like because they have Shang-Chi,
Mandarin.
he might be back already.
I don't know. I mean, like when you have you seen it yet?
No, I haven't seen it
Okay,
yet.
you'll have to see it and see if you can figure out what Mandarin's motivation would be for that. So top things, best things. I have four again.
Okay, I have 3. The bottom of my top list is the outfits. He has good outfits,
I
strong
know.
outfits.
See, we're really aligned on this one. My fourth best thing was just the museum look with the glasses. I don't even like denim jackets that much. So if you can make that work for you, I'm really impressed.
I like Killmonger's denim jacket.
Yeah. Oh, and then I'll do my next one since I had four. So, third best thing, Killmonger is a sympathetic villain whose motives and origins are completely understandable.
That was my next one.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
you know.
I said best motivation.
And we're not the only ones who notice this. Lots of people talking about this movie have this feeling. Okay, my number two best thing. I mentioned this already. I really like the way he speaks, but specifically, I like how he always goes, nah. Like, nah, it's not going to go down like that. I just feel like it's so cute and it's so like iconic. I just really like how he does it.
Okay, do you want to do your top one also? Because I only have one more.
Okay. My best thing is, again, we kind of talked about this already. All of his plot twists on his character are based on the audience's assumptions. And I think that's like a thing that maybe a lot of people don't realize at a surface level, a sort of subconscious level. But like the thing with him being the little kid, and you just think, well, that's just like a random kid. We'll never see him again. And then you see him with the glasses and stuff, and you're like, oh, well, he's just like some guy, you know. But then he like, you know, does the whole museum heist. And then you see him, you know, shooting and killing and all that stuff. He gets to Wakanda and you think, oh, he's just like a monster. He's just like some evil murderer. But he's like, no, I'm a prince too. Like, I have royal blood. Over and over again, all of his big twists. No, you made assumptions about me. You thought I couldn't be smart because of this, or you thouldn't be royalty because I'm a murderer. Like, but I'm too complex for you to understand. And it just feels like so badass.
Yeah, I agree. It's a really good one, and also much more nuanced and smart and said eloquently than my last one, which was that he hot.
Which is also pretty much true no matter what assumption you made about it.
Yeah. That's all I wrote. I wrote capital H, capital O, capital T T T T T T T T.
Thank you for putting him in this movie. Thank you for doing this movie, Michael B. Jordan. Thank you for roasting people on the internet because they made assumptions about your height and about your anime preferences.
Yes, and please put some respect on his name.
Oh, great. Okay, so like we're now at Conspiracy Corner.
You back me into a conspiracy corner.
I think there's an obvious big one here, which is was Killmonger right?
Yes, girlfriend murder aside.
Yeah, just his purpose, his agenda.
I also think that in the movie, this is another point I kind of want to put aside, which is that he becomes king and he is like, we're selling these weapons immediately to like these other countries or whatever. And it's like, that doesn't really feel like it fits with his idea and his backstory. So I'm also putting that aside because I don't think that's right, is like, let's sell weapons of mass destruction to whatever country.
Yeah.
Because that kind of feels like he just wants to watch the world burn.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do a little recap. He's a child. He knows about Wakanda. He's a Wakandan, half Wakandan, yeah. I think. His dad is murdered by Killmonger's uncle, who is the king of Wakanda. Yeah. Wakanda is supposed to be this amazing place, the best place in the world, has all the best technology, protects its people, all this stuff. They don't like it that Killmonger's dad was trying to use that technology to try to keep Black people from being oppressed and potentially other minorities, other marginalized people. So they murder him and abandon Killmonger.
Yeah.
There. And I just like, that's not right. There's a lot of things wrong with what happened there, and each factor of it feels like it compounds it to be worse and worse, with the final straw being that he does not take Eric Stevens back with him, or he doesn't take Ndjaka back with him to Wakanda to raise him.
Yeah, that's like, probably the worst thing. That's the one thing that's like, if you somehow could say all the other stuff was all right, which it wasn't, if you say, hey, it was a time of war, whatever, or like their general philosophy, the Wakandan philosophy is like, we have to protect ourselves. We're not going to let the outside world in because we're so advanced and we need to take care of ourselves. We'll lose everything if we spread too thin, right? And that, but even if you thought of that, why not take the child with you? Like, that's the worst part to me, is like, there's really no excuse for that.
Yeah. And there was part of me that was like, oh, he didn't know about it. But he is a spy who's this guy who's been working with him. And that he must know that he has a kid. Like,
I think so too. He did, because when the other thing Killmonger does that's bad is he kills the older guy, Uncle James, right? That was the spy. So that, like, when he says that, you know, Killmonger knows that he knew that person that was the spy for Wakanda. So yeah, they knew each other. He knew he had a child. They knew.
Yeah. All this happened. Super traumatic, and also just wrong. Not just traumatic on like a personal level, but just like a wrong that should not have happened. So he spent his whole life with the singular purpose of getting back to Wakanda. And I think it would have been a stronger choice, like developmentally, not that he's just like, I'm king, we're selling all these weapons, but like now he wants to give back. Now he wants to like right this wrong and like get these like descendants of the countries that couldn't evade colonization the way Wakanda did.
Yeah.
He wants to make sure that those descendants get lifted up to an equitable position, right? And that is correct. And in the end, that's what T'Challa does, right? He's like, we're revealing ourselves to the world. So like, it was he was right.
Yeah. I mean, on one hand, it's really amazing because he's like such a great foil for T'Challa because until he finds out about this, thinks his dad is so great and has not made any mistakes like this, is just like such an amazing king. And T'Challa has a really sensitive heart. Like he's a real giving person who has also kind of questioned a little bit like, oh, well, we have to protect everyone. But there's definitely like there's already a conflict there where like some characters say, no, we definitely can never open the borders. Some characters say we should open the borders, right? And T'Challa's caught in there and he knows it's his choice to make. And it's like, as a leader, you have to make a tough decision that will have huge repercussions. And then meeting Killmonger, like, there's like such conflict internally where he must even be thinking like maybe this other person would be a better king, in a lot of ways because he's also just in the middle of grappling with like, can I be a good king? It's just so good. It's like on so many levels good. And yeah, the way it turns out is that despite all of the violence, T'Challa does. I mean, it pretty much ends with T'Challa agreeing as well. Not in the super violent way where we're going to give all of our weapons to people first, but he does say this was wrong. And I think it's also like a really interesting exploration of like, what do you do when you find out there is a wrong that you have the ability to amend, to repair. And I think that's something that a lot of people are kind of asking themselves. In fact, it even goes to the museum conversation, like every bit of it, right? It's like, okay, what do you do when you find out that maybe someone in your family stole something from someone else? Or like it's a thing that could happen even on a really personal level in your own life. And it could happen on a country level where you're like, wait a second, I didn't know my country was doing this to a subset of our country. Or I didn't know our country was sending people here and doing this to another country. It can seem really like overwhelming, but like it's sort of a test of your own character. How much are you going to care about it, or how much are you going to add your voice to that conversation? Yeah, I mean, it really feels like it gave T'Challa so much growth because he got to interpret how to right that wrong in his own way and try to do what he could to make the amends for his dad doing that.
Yeah, it's just such a good story. Like I wish that there are a few things that were changed about the execution of it in the movie, but when you like think about the character and the plot and everything, it's just very strong.
Yeah, let's move on to themes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So we did talk about some of the things I wanted to bring up already, but one of the things that I did want to say, we talked about how important this movie is, that it's like a movie with like black creators, black actors, black story, a story that also is like about black issues, like has black culture in it. So it has all these things, and that's really important. We talked about that a little bit already. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is like part of the reason that Wakanda is such an explosive idea, I think. And like this is what I'm recognizing in myself, and like that I only have one opinion, right? Like I'm one person with one opinion. If I see anybody out there being like, well, Liz said blah, 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 blah. So black community, blah, blah, don't do that. We're going to have a problem. Yeah. So part of the reason that this idea is so explosive, to put it in context, like, people are doing like 23andMe or whatever, or they do these trips where they go back to their like great, great, great grandpa's hometown in Italy and
Yeah,
they can like see whatever. Okay. A lot of black Americans can't do that. Like if I do 23andMe, my understanding, because I would consider doing it, even though I really hate the idea of a company having my DNA like that. I would consider
uh-huh,
doing it if there were good results for black people. As far as I understand it, there really isn't. I would love to do Ancestry, but and I've had some family that's tried to do it. You can only go back as far as you can have records. And one,
yeah,
people were literally kidnapped. Like you can't have that connection. Like I don't know what country in Africa or the Caribbean or wherever
yeah,
my lineage comes from. I have no idea, and I don't even know how to find that out. And I don't think a lot of people have access to the resources or even the ability to do it because, unlike people who are immigrating, who were, you know, white people or people from other countries who weren't just kidnapped from their homelands, shipped over on boats, a bunch
Yeah.
of them died, and then used as slaves, there weren't even a lot of records of them. So, like, you don't know, you just, it's it's way more difficult to find out if possible at all. So imagine there is a country that could not be colonized. Like they said
Yeah.
no, like
Yeah.
we're, and this isn't in contrast to the other countries that like they weren't as good, but it's just like they fought back, they said no, they didn't allow it to happen because they were so technologically advanced that they could just hide. That is an amazing idea, that there's this country that's untouched by the ancestral generational trauma of the slave trade.
Yeah.
And then, like, okay, when I was reading the comic, the Coates run, 2018 Rise of the Black Panther, this was in there, and it was just like, this is why Black Panther feels so important and why Wakanda feels so important. So T'Challa's grandpa, Azuri, who was also Black Panther, is Captain America. Steve Rogers comes to Wakanda because he's like, listen, the Nazis are here and they're going to kill the whole world. And I heard that there's like a metal here that could help us. And they immediately start fighting because he's an outsider and outsiders aren't allowed. So Azuri says, so you've come to steal what you desire as elsewhere on the continent. That does not happen in Wakanda. And like, I have goosebumps just like thinking about that because
Yeah.
it's just like, no one is allowed to come here and take what we have.
Yeah.
No one. And that just feels like so powerful. Like I have goosebumps. So that's like partially why this movie and the character are so, and Wakanda is so like powerful. And then also it's like everybody knows about Captain America, not that many people know about Black Panther, including myself, who is like pretty into comics. And like in this story, Captain America comes, they're fighting, their fight is interrupted by literal Nazis. So Azuri is like, oh shit, yeah, these guys are pretty bad. So he takes Captain America's original shield and he has it in Wakanda. He gives him vibranium. Then Captain America goes on to have his vibranium shield that's like iconic round Captain America
Yeah.
shield. And like a lot of people know about Captain America's vibranium shield. I don't think as many people know that vibranium came from Wakanda.
I didn't know where it came from. I just knew it was, I mean, I knew it was like, I assumed it came from Wakanda, but I think the backstory you just gave is like way more like
Yeah.
emotional.
I think
Yeah.
there's also a strong possibility that there's multiple origins for the shield, but like that's the one that I read in that story and I was like, this is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. And like, if it's okay to say, like, it's not the same kind of generational trauma, it's a different one, but I relate in some ways because I'm half Japanese American and my grandparents and my aunt were incarcerated during World War II by the American government. And it's something I kind of always knew about my whole life, but I didn't really, it wasn't until I was an adult where I like actually went to the national park where they were kept and started to like look into my lineage. But I had the same thing you did. Like when people talk about like, oh, like here, do this like ancestry thing and look it up. It's kind of like, well, there's gonna be like this weird gap there. And like it's sort of uncomfortable. Like you'll have casual chats with like coworkers and stuff and they're like, oh, my grandfather was this celebrated veteran, air pilot, and you have to be like, yeah, my grandparents were imprisoned by our country, so sorry I have to bring that up to you right now over
hate,
lunch at
hate,
work. uh
hate to break the news to you, but
yeah. Yeah, and it's just
yeah.
it's unfortunate, for many reasons, and I don't want to get us too off topic, but it's just like probably even more groups of people that have had experiences like that we never hear about. And I think you're totally right. It's something that it takes a long time to explain and understand why the idea of Wakanda could be so thrilling and exciting, and how much it could mean to a whole group of people. Why it's not the same as being like, wow, dragons are cool. I like a movie with dragons in it. And like that's also cool. It's yeah, sure, true. You know, dragons are cool. Like high fantasy is cool. Like there's a lot of things that are cool, but there's another element to it because it actually has the power to change people's perceptions about their own lineage and about their own culture. And that's like amazing.
Yeah. And also, it's just like really powerful the story that they're telling about Wakanda coming out of isolation, because you can't really tell that story of like, yeah, Wakanda is the country that is the most technologically advanced country in the world, didn't get colonized, didn't have their people abducted for the slave trade, but why didn't they help everyone else who was getting wrecked by this? And it's like, that
Yeah.
is a really powerful story that they chose to tell about that moment of T'Challa being like, no, this is correct. Like, helping people is correct, and sharing our technology is correct. And Black Panther.
It's the best.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was this pretty heavy stuff, but it's very important and emotional. And I thank you for sharing your point of view. I think that's really awesome. See, we're not just a show about thirsting for fictional characters. We have many
Sometimes we're
layers.
also about facts. Sometimes we're about feelings based
Oh,
facts, or fact based feelings.
oh, yeah. There
Yeah.
you go.
Well, it's hard to transition into something silly after that, but the next bullet point that we have is other hot characters. Okay,
Everyone.
everyone in this movie is hot. Like, everyone in this movie is hot.
Yeah, I wanted to say, like, I feel bad that we're not talking. This is an episode about Killmonger, so we're not actually talking about Chadwick Boseman or T'Challa that much. But and I don't want to start crying. I cried
Yeah.
so much when he passed away because I was like, I won't know him ever as a person, but like what he did by deciding to hide his illness so that the character of Black Panther could be remembered as a hero for as long as possible was like literally an act of heroics. And I cried so much when I heard about that. It shows such a strength that he had and that he made these movies while knowing his time was limited. So I just feel like as a person and as an actor, he was like so amazing. And his work is incredible. And, you know, I think he just did such a good job. It was so great to see this very handsome man. He's also super handsome, but you know, it's so awesome to see like a sensitive hero, like a sensitive masculine king in a Marvel movie. It was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with what you're saying. And I hope also people just like maybe use this as a good example and a reminder to just like, celebrities are people too. And like, if they have weight loss or weight gain or a plastic surgery or whatever, shut your mouth. Just let them be. They're doing their own thing. They are a human being, because, he was literally had terminal cancer, and people are like, oh, Chadwick Boseman's looking a little skinny. And it's like, you have no idea what's going on with people. Just don't make that a thing. Don't do that.
Yeah, like I mean, it's our human nature that once you achieve a certain celebrity, like people think of you, they see one aspect of you and that's what they know, and they don't know all of you as a human. They only know that one aspect and they're making judgments on that. But I think as we continue to go down this route of so much social media, so much connection to people, and just the ability for like literally millions of people to have an opinion about a person, about their way they look, the way they act, you know, that's more than any one person's brain has ever been meant to carry. So, you know, Even that's why with the podcast, like we always try to keep it really positive because we're not here to hate. We're trying to, even if we say, oh, we don't really like something, we're not trying to say that person's bad or that they did a bad job. We're mostly trying to uplift and share things we love, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what a hero. Other people who are hot and are still here to be celebrated. um, and Baku, so he's like the gorilla tribe, right? He's the
Yeah.
leader. He's really cool too because he's kind of the Vegeta of this movie. He's like the anti-hero rival guy, you know?
Yeah, also plays on expectations, right? Because they like
Yeah.
go there and they're like, this is our last place. And like these guys are, they're kind of like outcast tribe, I think, of,
Yeah.
and they show up and he's like, we're not savages. Like, of course, we'll let him recuperate here. Like, we're not just gonna like throw you out and let him die. Like, what do you think? Like, who do you
Yeah.
think we are?
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, totally. Because you think, like, why wouldn't he take the flower and become the next Black Panther? But he doesn't, you know? He's like, we got him here, you know? It's
Yeah.
okay. It'd be really interesting to dive deeper into his story and what his tribe stands for because it's interesting. Yeah. Nakia, so that's the love interest, right?
Okay, so yeah, Nakia is played by Lupita Nyong'o, and she is gorgeous. I mean, she's just gorgeous.
Facts.
Yeah, that's like the sweet but independent, smart love interest. Then you also have Okoye, who is the head of the like guard, the
I
king's
love
guard.
her.
She's such a
And
badass.
she has
Just
some of
like
the best lines in the
yeah,
entire cinematic universe.
yeah,
Like in was it Infinity War? Yeah, it had to be. In Infinity War when Scarlet Witch comes down and wrecks all that stuff and Okoye is like, "We've been keeping her up there this whole time." That that ended me. I was like, that's so fucking funny. She's so good.
yeah. Also, just like her character arc is also really strong. The actress's name is Denai Gurira. Okay, so yeah, that character arc of Okoye is also strong because it's like she struggles a lot because she's like, I don't have allegiance to a king. I have allegiance to the
Yes.
throne. But
Yes.
then she ends up having to like take her absolute stance and kind of like
Yes.
revise it. And that's also a cool moment.
She's also not in the movie that much, but she has such a clarity of her personality and her conflicts because, like, her lover, right, is also
Yeah.
sides with Killmonger. Their relationship is maybe like 10 lines long in the whole movie, but you get the whole arc. You know everything. Like, it feels so good. And there's even like that moment where she's got the wig on when they go to Korea, and she kind of like whips the wig off. I felt like even that's like kind of a commentary on how a lot of Black women hide their natural hair, and like I don't know, it just felt like she's touching on all this little stuff,
Yeah.
even though she's like one of the more side characters in the story. It's like so
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, it's just a good movie. Should we move on to rating this character?
I'll rate you, date you, calculate you. It's reason to see you fast. I love you, I hate you. Love you, love you.
Yes, I think it's time for the Resand scale. You can cut this out if you want to, but I was re listening to an episode of one of our favorite podcasts, Fantasy Time. And I feel like we always want to shout out Fantasy Time. And in this episode, they talk about how angry they are that one of the host's mothers pronounces his name Risond. So that I was just listening to that today. So that's on my mind. Listen to Fantasy Time. They're so freaking good.
The Resand scale.
The Resond scale. Fantasy Time, if you're listening to this, please collab with us on
Yeah.
anything. On anything. We will
Yeah.
do. Okay. So it's now time for the Resand scale. This is a scale of 1 to 10, where Resand is an 11 on how great this character is. And we each give our own personal rating. It's just completely subjective on how we feel about this character. Yeah, do you want to go first? Or I feel like you like it when I go first so that you could have some moments to think about it longer.
I think I should just accept it. I should just go first.
Okay.
I feel like I have to go with like a solid 8 because he's
Ooh.
so hot. He's so hot. Like the only thing that would have taken it to a 10 if there was like more like a romance or something. You know what I mean? Like if we saw him get it down,
Like the
it would be
prequel
over for
movie
me.
about the coffee shop girl. Define
Yeah.
her whole arc. Yeah.
Yeah.
Make it happen, internet.
He's just so hot and his like he's justified. He isn't just out there murdering people to murder people. And like he's so strong and just like his conviction. It's just like yeah. I really am attracted to like competence and he is smart and super strong and a skilled fighter. It's just like he has it all.
Yeah, it's true. I think that's fair. A solid 8 from Liz.
Yeah.
Okay. Whew. All right. Here's the thing. I agree completely, but I think for my resand scale ranking, I had to weigh the fact that he murdered his girlfriend.
That's fair. I knocked a point off for that.
Yeah. So I tried to, now that we've gone a few, I try to look at everybody else and try to see where I would fit him in. And I think basically based on the fact that he's not like super romantic, which just for me personally factors in a lot, and the fact that he murdered his girlfriend, I gave him a 6. But I think all the things you said are true, and I probably would have been more of a 7 or 8 had there been had there been that.
Yeah, it's fair. I gotta give it up for Michael B. Jordan.
I mean,
And
yeah,
this is also hard because is this the well, I guess we did the test episode with Jareth, but I think this is our first character that is a portrayed by
like
a
a
real
live
person.
action character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah,
also
that's a
hard
good point. I mean,
because
it really factors in, right? I give Michael B. Jordan the person a 9.
yeah,
Okay, so like,
like when it's a live action property, I don't have to do as much mental calculus
yeah,
to be
yeah.
like, but how would I feel if this person was in front of me? Because I think I know the answer to
Okay.
that
I think I'm
if it
already
was the
damaged. I'm
actor.
just already imagining like two-dimensional characters standing next to me or something. Maybe
Yeah.
I play too many VR games.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that, we have inducted Killmonger into the Hot Baddies Club. I'm sure there'll be many philosophical debates among the members. The last thing we have to do is further investigation, which is our list of things that if you liked Killmonger, we recommend that you check out. And I kept thinking of more and more stuff as we were talking. So, oops.
Okay. So I was trying to think more broadly about other things that are based, like have a seed of them, like at its core comes from a place of like the some of the brilliance of this comes from diversity or
Yeah.
like appropriate culturation or something like that. But I ended up thinking a lot about like black characters and like black creations. So the things that I put in here was like there's other black superheroes that if that's something that's important to you and you want to like get into comics that way, but you've only ever like seen comics and been like, oh great, a bunch of white people, there are some characters that you can get into. So there's the Luke Cage TV show, which we mentioned briefly.
I really love
Also,
that. I loved it, and it also has some really cool villains in it. Like, yeah, 100% agree with Luke Cage. It's so
yeah,
good.
yeah, that's a fun one. Falcon and the Winter Soldier is on Disney Plus. That's another has the whole Marvel current MCU treatment. I would say I don't think that the way that they handle black issues is as successful as Black Panther, but it's still representation with the full like Marvel treatment. Okay, there is in comic book form, there is a Black Green Lantern, John Stewart. There's Bishop and X-Men. There's like Cyborg from Teen Titans. We got also Into the Spider-Verse, which is one of
Yeah.
Hands down, my favorite Spider-Man movie.
I'm
One
so
of the
glad you
best
added
movies
that
I've ever
one.
seen. It is excellent. And it also features,
Miles Morales.
yeah,
Yeah.
Miles Morales,
He's
who
so
is
good.
half black, I think.
I think he's half Latin and half black or something. I
Yeah,
forgot what country his. I think it's his mom
yeah,
speaks Spanish. Yeah.
yeah. I didn't look
Anyway,
it up beforehand, so I don't know
which
off the
is
top of my
it's
head.
also
But
represented in the movie though. It's like so
yeah,
cool. You get to see his parents and you get to see them speaking Spanish in their house and stuff. The
yeah. I'm not the biggest Spider-Man fan, but that is an excellent movie. Anyway, so you got that. If you want to get into comics and read more black heroes, I also want to shout out Lovecraft Country, which is scary and gory, but it is so good and also addresses like themes of blackness in history. So I really recommend that. And then the last thing I wanted to shout out that I just added that I remembered, which is just like King Vader on YouTube, this amazing YouTube creator that makes riffs on anime, TV shows, like slasher films, whatever. He does his own spin on it. And it's just like he adds a flavor and they are so funny. And he has progressively made like higher and higher production values ones that are like longer and longer, and they're just very good. And he did actually have like a collaboration with Netflix. It was called Netflix Dreams, where he got to make shorts based on Netflix shows with like Netflix production, I guess. And I did see a tweet from him that was like, my goal this year is to work with Marvel. So I really want that to happen for him.
Aw, that's
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's so funny. I was also going to say Into the Spider-Verse, which is just a brilliantly beautiful piece of animation. You get to meet Miles. You also get Spider-Gwen, which is my personal favorite Spider-Man, so to speak. And what I put here is the Creed movies, which, you know, in the original Rocky series, one of his biggest rivals is Apollo Creed. And so they made a new series where Rocky Balboa is, you know, teaching Apollo's son to box. And so it's just like more, if you're into Rocky, it's more Rocky goodness, but now you've got Michael B. Jordan playing the main character, and he's so good in it. I think Tessa Thompson is the love interest. So, I mean, you can't really go wrong with this movie series. I also saw that the third movie is being directed by Michael B. Jordan, and I believe it's his directing debut. So that's really exciting for him. Then I also have a scary movie, His House, which is a 2020 Netflix movie. This is it is a horror movie about cultural kind of trauma. It's about immigrants that move to the UK and they are fleeing like a really terrifying conflict in their home country, and they have to live in this house because it's been provided by the UK government. If they leave the house, they will be deported and sent back. But of course, the house is haunted, and it is haunted kind of by the ghosts of the people that were involved with their fleeing from the country. So it's like a pretty heavy movie about a real thing that's happening to real people, but it's a really beautifully done movie. And it's so cool to see how they brought that story to life through the lens of a haunted house movie. And then I wanted to shout out a YouTuber as well, FD Signifier, who is a black man, and he does these really great video breakdowns of like kind of pop culture, black culture. I think he's really entertaining. He's really well researched. And I think he recently hit like a pretty big milestone on YouTube. I think it was 100,000 followers, but it might be even more than that now. You know, it's one of those things where it feels like once you hit one of those milestones, you just keep skyrocketing, because I feel like he's already way above that number. And so he started to like uplift other black creators and show their content as like, hey, check out all these people in this video, which I think is so cool that he's doing that.
Okay, I do actually know who this is because I watched his video about Bo Burnham. Bo Burnham's inside, and he's
Yes.
really good.
That was
Yeah.
one of the first ones I saw by him, and it was like he basically comes up with new terminology to describe phenomenon in our culture, which is like just the amount of research that you have to do and the way that you have to communicate to do that. It's just really cool to watch. So that's it for the Killmonger part 2.
So, a little sneak peek. We're doing something very special to Miko.
Yeah, my like true favorite, the character I want to be most like in video games. We're gonna do Ada Wong from Resident Evil, and I have so many feelings about her. And I am really, again, this is gonna be one of those where I'm just so glad that Liz is willing to watch hours of gameplay footage and really understand my deep feelings about Ada's backstory and her relationship with the man she loves. It's gonna be good.
It's going to be exciting. It's going to be another we have a lot of long episodes coming up because the one after that is going to be like my Vegeta, basically.
So, my name is Miko. You can find me on Twitter or on Twitch as Dr. Mikachu.
And I'm Liz. You can find me on Twitter at Liz Makes and at Illuminated Space almost everywhere else. You can find the podcast at Hot Baddies Club almost everywhere except where it's definitely not us, and that will be very apparent when you look at the account. The easiest way to get all of the links to all of our accounts is to go to hotbaddies.club/links. We have like our custom link page there, so you can get our Twitter, our YouTube, our Discord server, our Instagram, TikTok, whatever. If we have an account.
All the things.
You can join our Discord community by going to discord.hotbaddies.club. Our theme song is The Hot Baddies Club by Ryako. You can find the song and the rest of her amazing music on her Bandcamp website, ryako.bandcamp.com. That's ryako.bandcamp.com.
Yep, and that's it. So, if it's true and Killmonger comes back to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, what do you think is the first thing that he's gonna say?
I hope we just get a close-up shot of Michael B. Jordan's face saying, "It's good to be back."
You've awakened inside me a feeling I cannot deny. You impress me, possess me, the thought of you gets me so high. Wanna stay here forever, the rest of the world can go by, but I don't know why.
Your rating was an 8. Mine was
Yes.
a 6. People are gonna be like, "You're nuts, Miko." But yeah, it is a little nuts because I rated Hades higher than that. That's bonkers. Maybe I should fix it. I can't fix it now. No, because Hades hasn't murdered a girlfriend. That's why. But he really is. He's hotter than Hades. Excuse me.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I thought that was really good. I'm gonna stop my backup now.